I met a lot of very creative personalities, and I knew now I have the language, now I have the voice, and I want to be the voice of the Russian Germans in Germany, in Russia, in Kazakhstan, Ukraine, doesn't matter, because a lot of our people, they try to hide themselves, because in the former Soviet Union or in Russia and Kazakhstan, they were the Germans. And when they came to Germany, they became the Russians. And so they tried to hide themselves, to be invisible. And I knew that's not right. We have to show our history. We have to show our stories, to have to tell about it. And yes, that was a chance for me and for other people to make us visible.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creativity Worth Expressing, a podcast that dives into the world of creativity. I'm your host, Ryan Anthony Hernandez, and our guest for today is the amazing Katharina, coming all the way from Germany. She's going to be sharing with us a bit about herself, her culture, history, and we're going to be diving into how she was able to grow creatively from being a child, trying to learn different languages, her love for reading and writing, journalism, but it's also going to go into dance and theater and writing books and poetry. So stay tuned for this episode. I hope you enjoy it. And if you would like to support this channel and make this channel grow, help this channel to grow, please give a like, subscribe, follow. And if you would like to support this channel even more, you can go to my link, buymeacoffee.com/truththath7. All of your contributions help me to make this podcast a possibility, a reality. So without any more further ado, please enjoy this interview with Katharina. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Creativity Worth Expressing. My name is Ryan Anthony Hernandez, and I'm your host. And today I'm with a special guest, Katharina. Katharina, how are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good and very excited.
Good. Can you share with the audience where you're coming from?
Yes, I come from Germany. I live in a small city, Eppingen. I'm not sure that somebody knows this city, but maybe Heilbronn, Stuttgart, Heidelberg is the most known cities near our village.
Okay, so welcome to the show. It's a very new show that I'm starting, but my idea is to invite creative people like you from all over the world to share their journey and to share a bit about their work. So to get started, can you share with us what are some projects that you have recently worked on?
Yes. I have a lot of projects at the same time, but the main one is my theater group, which is called Meine Leute in German, and that means my people. And with this theater group, I have a lot of performances, and we had a lot of performances this year. We traveled a lot, and also I have some youth projects with Eastern Europe, for example, with Romania and Croatia, Hungary, and we also visited Kazakhstan this year and also had some performances in Kazakhstan. It was very, very exciting for me.
Okay, so you're doing theater work. Are you also doing workshops? Uh, can you tell us a little bit more about Meine Leute? What is the story about?
Yes. I created Meine Leute in 2018, and it started with with a trip to Ukraine, where my grandmother, my German grandmother, came from. She was born and raised in Ukraine, and then in 1936, my grandmother, she was about 7, 8 years old. She was deported with her family to Kazakhstan by the Soviets. And she told me a lot about her childhood in Ukraine, about the village, the German village, and about her parents. And it was always my dream to go to Ukraine, to find this place, because my grandmother had never the chance to return. and to see the place, her home again. And it was always my dream to go to Ukraine, to find this place, to make a lot of photos and to film everything and to show it my grandmother. But she died in 2017, so I was late.
Mhm.
And in 2018, I went to Ukraine and I found this place, but there was nothing. No houses, nothing. The village was destroyed, completely destroyed. But, I wanted to go to Ukraine, maybe for me to set like a point, to finish the whole story. But it was not the end. It was the end of one chapter, but the beginning of another chapter. And when I came back to Germany, I started research and wanted to know more about the Germans from Ukraine, about their fate, and more about my family history. And I remember that one evening, my daughter was 11, my son was 7 years old at the time. They came to I have an office at my house because I'm self-employed and I'm working at home. And they came to my office and they saw these photos, the old photos and documents and landscape cards. And they asked me, what is this? What are you doing so late? And I told them a little bit about our family history. And they were very interested in it. But it was very late. They had to go to bed. But I promised them that I will tell them later a little bit more about it. And at the same time, I had this idea. I want to tell our history, our story from the Russian Germans, from the Ukrainian Germans, in a new format because I wrote books at the time. I worked as journalist. I told a lot about this, but through books or articles. But I wanted to create something new, maybe something more visible, if you know what I mean. And then I had this idea maybe to write a stage play for children. And then I wrote a stage play which called Once in Volhynia. Volhynia is a region in Ukraine where my grandmother came from. And I produced this this stage play, and this was the birth of our theater group. And actually, it was a dance group. I had my children and other children, and they danced at my dance group. And I asked them if maybe you want to play theater, and they were very excited. Yes, we want to try it. And this stage play was a huge success. And the children asked me to do another stage play and to do more theater than dance. And yeah, that was the beginning of our theater group. And of course, in the last 6 years, we traveled a lot in Germany. We were in Romania, in Croatia, in Kazakhstan with our stage plays. And at this time, at the moment, we have 6 plays. Yes, six. Yeah, and it is a great experience to see the children grow up, and you can do more with them. You can play very difficult scenes, maybe something I was not able to play 5 or 4 years ago because they were too young for this.
So
Yes.
now I wanted to go a little bit back because you've said how you were a writer, you were a journalist, so you were always very busy in your life. Um, whe when was it in your life that you knew that you wanted to do something with journalism?
Yes. Uh, with journalism, I think it was after I finished the university in 2014, as 10 years ago. Um, but maybe I have to go a little more back in time. Um, 20 years ago, I started my journey in creative work because I always was interested in arts, every kind of art, literature, painting, dancing, theater, everything. And I grew up in a very small village in Russia, in the northern of Russia. And we had we didn't have really a possibility to be creative. We had a music school, we had a house of culture, we had the possibility to visit, dance classes or sing classes, but I always wanted a little bit more. And when we came to Germany in 1997, we had other problems. I had to learn the language. I had to find my place in Germany, go to school, try to understand what the teachers are talking about. And yes, it was very hard time, but in my free time, I was dreaming a lot.
Mm.
And I knew there is a big world and there are a lot of stories. And I love reading and I read a lot. I read every day and I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to do great things, not just to sit in my room and writing something in my diary. And but at the time, I thought that writing books or writing for newspaper or making movies, it's something for very, very, very special people. It's not for little girls like me. And what can I do with my language, with my I mean, I had to learn German because I just could say hello, mein Name ist Katharina, and that was all. Um, yes, and when I was at university, you have another books to read, you have another texts to write, you have no time to be creative, And I had two little children. I was divorced. I have to work, and I had a lot to do. So there was no place for writing. And after I finished the university, I tried to write the first texts, and I was very shy. I think this writing was just for me. And then one day I met people who were very interested in the stories. And that was the beginning of writing or being journalist. And then I found very interesting stories to write about, to talk about. I met a lot of people, and I met a lot of very creative personalities, and I knew now I have the language, now I have the voice, and I want to be the voice of the Russian Germans in Germany, in Russia, in Kazakhstan, Ukraine, it doesn't matter, because a lot of our people, they try to hide themselves, because in the former Soviet Union or in Russia and Kazakhstan, they were the Germans. And when they came to Germany, they became the Russians. And so they tried to hide themselves, to be invisible. And I knew that's not right. We have to show our history. We have to show our stories, to have to tell about it. And yes, that was a chance for me and for other people to make us visible.
Now, when you're talking about, being in Russia, then coming to Germany, and now they're known as just the Russians. I mean, and although it's a little confusing, but I'm staying with you. What I want to ask now is, do you think that there was a lot of shame to be creative, to be open, to be expressive? And if if that's the case, that there's a lot of shame, do you think that your work is maybe bringing light on the situation that is happening?
Yes. I think it's not just on shame, it's also that in our community, or especially in my family, or in my as my friends, be creative is something you can do it as a hobby.
Mm.
Be creative, you can do it in your free time. but it's not a job. You cannot earn money with creativity. And for me, it was a very, very long and hard and difficult way to get where I am now, to show the people, yes, I can do creativity, I can live with it, I can earn money, I can help other people. That's the reason why I do what I do. And of course, you know, the Germans from former Soviet Union, they never learned to speak about themselves, about what happened to them during the Second World War, to talk about their fearness or their illnesses or something like this. And when they came to Germany, I said it before, they became Russians, and it was very confusing for them. So imagine you are in Soviet Union, you live or your ancestor lived in Russian Empire and Soviet Union for 200 years, and then you're um, you're nothing. You have no rights. You can talk your mother tongue. You can do nothing. You can work at areas you want to work. You cannot study what you want to study. And the Germans suffered a lot in the Soviet Union. They were discriminated about many, many years. And for the most Germans from Soviet Union, it was, a dream to come back to Germany and to live with other Germans and to be like other people. And when they came to Germany, they became Russians. And it was a trauma for a lot of people. And of course, they were ashamed to speak about it. And they had no chance to speak about it. So I think that my generation and the generation of our children, we are really maybe the first generation who feel free to speak about it, who feel free to say, yes, that's our history. That's the story of our parents and grandparents. And we had a lot of problems and there were a lot of challenges, but we did it. I mean, look at us now. We are part of the society. We went to school, we studied, we have great jobs. We are doctors and pilots and musicians and movie stars now. And I think that we can also help our parents to become maybe more self-confident. Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's the reason why we do this, me and my colleagues.
So right now you're very busy. You have your theater. You also do workshops. Can
Yes,
you talk a little bit about the workshops? What is it that you do, and where do you do it? Where do you do the workshops?
yes. I have a great team. It's not just me, but also other creative people who work as photographers or musicians or actors. And we offer workshops for young people, but also for elder people. And for example, we offer workshops in creative writing. For example, we work with elder people who suffered in Soviet Union. We work with people who were confronted with discrimination, something like this. And I try to show them how can they deal with this transgenerational trauma or with their experiences, how can they express the experiences on paper, how to write a short story. And it's also very exciting to work with young people and to see how much talent or fantasy they have. And I can remember one workshop or one situation. It was a creative writing workshop in Ukraine 5 years ago. And in the morning, we had a program. We visited historical places, met people, witnesses. And in the afternoon, we had our workshops. And one day I told to my group, today we're gonna write some poems. and they were so shocked. Oh no, we can do this. We can write poems. It doesn't work. No, no way. But I had to, because I said, no, that's the program for today. You have to write a poem. It doesn't matter how, just do it, just try it. And in the end, we had such wonderful, very, very deep and very emotional poems. And in the end of this project, we made something like a book with all the photos and all the texts we made during these projects, with also these beautiful poems, you know. And the people was very, they were surprised that they can do this. And I think that's one of the most beautiful emotional experience when I see that people surprise themselves, you know, when they say at the beginning, no, I can't act, I can't paint. For example, yesterday we had a painting workshop with a great artist. Her name is Lisa Harms. She's also on Instagram. And we made a painting workshop. And there were 30 people, 30 persons. And the most of them said, you know, I can't paint. I just want to watch how to do this. I don't know, maybe. And we had really great pictures at the end. And yes, that's also very inspiring for me, you know, when I see that people learn new things or try new things. And I also have this experience that after the workshop, they try it again at home or at other areas.
So
Yes, and
that's fascinating. Go ahead.
yeah, and where we do these workshops, we offer them here in region in Germany, but also we have some projects abroad in Eastern Europe. As I said, we went also to Kazakhstan this year, so we offer them everywhere.
Awesome. So I'm very excited to hear you excited because that's what I love about creativity is that it can be exciting and just seeing you be excited and passionate. I just love that. Now I wanted to talk about uh ask you some more lighter questions, and I'm going to start with asking you, what is your favorite form of creativity? Because there's so many forms that you are involved in. There is creative writing, photography, doing these workshops, the theater, dance. What would you say is your absolute favorite form?
Oh my goodness. That's a real tough question. I don't know. I think it depends on my mood. It depends on my situation, life situation, maybe. There was a time in my life where the writing was a very big part and a very important part. And I don't know. It's very hard because it depends also on the topic. For example, the last 2 years, I would say that theater was yeah. I don't really know because I love literature. I love theater. I love making movies. I love everything. I think everything is beautiful, and you know, it's like to ask me, do you like your son or your daughter more? Yeah, it feels like this, you know. I cannot decide between my daughter and my son, and it's the same with the forms of creativity I do. Some days I love my books. Yes, because they're my babies. And some days I hate my books, and when I open them, I think, oh my God, what's that? It's horrible. Katrina, never write again. Yes. Some days I love the theater and I love it to be on the stage and play a role. But on the other days, I'm so tired or lazy sometimes that I said, oh no, today I don't want to go on the stage. So there are a lot of forms of creativity I love, and every form is like a baby, like a child to me. So, if you would ask me to choose one form of creativity, that I just one form I could do until I die, I would prefer to die now.
Oh,
because,
okay.
because I think in arts, in creativity, it's very dangerous to make some borders.
Mhm. Well, that was a good answer. I really like your answer. It was very, very nice. Now my next question for you is you're you're doing this theater and making movies and writing. Are any of these things, these are any of them available on maybe YouTube or anywhere on the internet or maybe even like Netflix where people can watch?
I hope so that one day it would be on Netflix. Yes, of course. You can find me on Instagram. You can find also my short films on YouTube. But really, if you visit my Instagram account, the information is complete. So you will find everything. My projects, my theater, stage plays, my links to my videos, everything. Yes, it's everything available. About my books, there are some texts in internet, but of course, if somebody want to read the whole book, um, they have to buy it
Okay, is there a
in
web?
print. In print.
Yeah, is there like a website or do they get it off of, I don't know, do you have Amazon over there? I don't know how it works. Like,
Yes. Yes, I have a website, but you can also buy the books on Amazon, and I send also the books. I when the books, I have them here. um, when they were published, I sent them to the USA and to Great Britain, to Kazakhstan, to Ukraine. So they are all over the world.
and what language are they written in?
I have three books in German language and just one book in Russian language because I also have texts I wrote texts in Russian. And during Corona, a lot of people ask me if I also have a book in Russian language because they don't understand German very well. And in during the Corona, I was very bored. And so I asked my colleague, who is a graphic designer, I asked him if he can help me to design book in Russian. So it's the only book which was self-published. But the other books, yeah, it was about I don't know the English word for this. Um, no. So it was they were not self-published. So
Well, if you would like, would you be open to showing the books?
yes, yes, of course.
That would be great.
That was my first book. It's a collection of short stories. A lot of them are autobiographical, and the stories are about the fate and the history of Russian Germans or Germans from Russia. Yes, and I also won an award with this book, and I'm very proud of it because it's my first baby.
Mhm.
And I wrote this text 7, 8, 10 years ago. And of course, now when I'm reading the book now, it's sometimes like I'm reading texts from a stranger because a lot of things changed in the last years. Um, this is the Russian book I told you.
Yes.
Um, my daughter, she painted the cover. Um, and there are also stories about the Russian Germans, but in Russian language. And the third one, I don't have any exemplars. I have to order new one. And this is the last book. It's a novel about the Black Sea Germans. There was a big German community in the Black Sea in Ukraine. And on the cover, you can see also my daughter. We made a photo shooting, and this picture was perfect for the cover of the book. So, yeah, she's also very proud of
Yes.
yeah. This
So my next question is, and we can skip it if you want, but my next question is, would you be able to maybe read a small part of your book? And
re-
it can be in German or Russian, it's fine.
yes, yes. I can read. This is my favorite part of the book because I started the book with this chapter. Um, and it was, something like I had a dream about it. Um, and then when I woke up, I thought, oh, it would be my next book. I like this picture in my head. It's about a young girl who is living in a small German village in Ukraine. It's during the Second World War, and but the life in the village is very quiet because the war is very, very, very far away. And this girl, she loves reading books. Um, yeah, and every morning she uh, she went down to the river and she was reading books. And this paragraph described this atmosphere. And the river is called Ingul.
Ingul.
Ingul. Yes, and the book is called The Silence Near Neulandau. Neulandau was this German village I wrote about. Am Ufer des Flusses Ingul. Diese Stille, diese herrliche, magische Stille, die es nur bei uns in Neulandau gibt. Ich schließe meine Augen, versuche, mein Gehör noch mehr anzustrengen, doch es gelingt mir nicht, über diese Stille hinauszuhören. Ich liege auf dem Rücken, umarmt von den weichen Grashalmen, die sich wie ein grüner Schal um meinen Körper schmiegen. Meine Zehen spielen mit dem kühlen Grasteppich. Es ist noch etwas feucht vom frischen Morgentau. Meine Hände ruhen auf dem Buch, das sich gemeinsam mit meinem Bauch hebt und senkt. Und um mich herum diese Stille bei Neulandau.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to get my own copy of your book now.
Yes.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing that. And my next question is, who is your favorite author? Who's your favorite writer? Or let me redo that. Do you prefer? Okay, sorry. Okay, my next question is, do you prefer German literature or Russian literature?
Um, I prefer books which inspire me and books which can change life or which can help me in some very, very hard or difficult situations. Um, there are a lot of great books and authors in German or and in Russian literature. It's also depends on my life situation, and the question about the language or the culture or the literature, it's like the question with the forms of art, it's the same with my children. Do I prefer my son or my daughter? um, I love to read Russian classic and German literature. I love Erich Maria Remarque and I love Bernhard Schlink and his book, Der Vorleser, The Reader. You maybe know the great movie with Kate Winslet. Yes, there are a lot of books. At the moment, I prefer to read books from Russian German authors because I need it for my work. So I not just the modern literature, also the elder authors and books. Um, and at this moment, I'm reading a book from Iranian author, Marjan Satrapi. Maybe you know her. It's a graphic novel about growing up in during the Iranian Revolution. So I like every kind of literature and books, but they have to impress me and inspire me. You know, I don't like books to read them and forget them the next moment. You know, of course, you cannot remember the whole book and the whole story. Maybe there are words or sentences or phrases or situation of the main figures you remember in some life situation. Yeah, that's maybe my answer of this question.
Thank you. And now my next question is, because I love to talk about creative people, who are some creative people that you know who are inspiring and maybe people don't know about them enough?
Yeah. Um, I would like to start with Lena Wolf. She is a German or Russian German author, writer, and she lives in London now. She was born in, I guess, in Lithuania or Latvia. A moment, I have to. But I know that she grew up in Kazakhstan. Later, they moved to Germany. She studied in New Zealand, and now she lives in London. And she is very inspiring person. And I know her because I worked on a translation of a graphic novel. She wrote a graphic novel, a story about her family history, about her search for her roots, and she was looking for a translator because the graphic novel is in English. Um, a colleague translated it into German, and then Lena was looking for a translator into Russian. And I know her for maybe 6 or 7 years, and I told her that I am translator. And so I worked with her the last year on this graphic novel and translated it into Russian. And it's a great work. It's a great graphic novel. It will be published in December, I think on 3rd December. And it called May the Universe Be Your Home. It's very great. And Lena Wolf is also on Instagram, Kazakh German. She also has a website, a homepage. And this is really great because this is the first graphic novel about the Russian German history. Another artist, she's very inspiring. This is Lisa Harms. I mentioned her before.
Mhm.
She's an artist and I love her paintings. And she paints pictures with earth and materials from the nature.
Okay.
And yesterday we made a workshop with her, and I love her paintings and I love the work she does because it's the paintings, the pictures, how she explained. This is there are pictures of homelands of home countries, and it's very inspiring, and I love how she talks about our history, how she, you know, if you see her picture, there's so much energy in these pictures and so much pain and also so much light and hope is everything inside. Yes, but there's a lot of artists I know and I work with. They're great. They're great inspiration, and yes, but the two I mentioned, Lena Wolf and Lisa Harms. they inspires me the most at the moment.
And now, Katarina, I'm going to ask you a question that I ask every creative person, and that is, why is creativity worth expressing for you?
Um, yes. You know, for me, um, I made a lot of great experiences because I chose this path, to be creative. And as I mentioned before, I was a very shy girl with a lot of dreams. But for a long time, I had no possibility to show it. And for me, it was very sad and sometimes horrible that I have to be like other people wanted me to be, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Um, I have I had no chance to show my talents, and I had a lot of talents, and I wanted to dance, I wanted to sing, I wanted to write, but I grew up in a family. I mean, I love my parents; they always supported me. But in my family or in our community, it was like you have to get a normal, a good job, yeah, a standard job. It was everything about have stability in life to earn money. And I think it was also very hard for my parents to understand that creativity can be yes, it's lifestyle for me, it's how I want to live. I cannot imagine to wake up in the morning, to go to the office at 8 o'clock, and to come back at 5 p.m., lay down on the couch, and that's all. And for my parents, it was very hard to understand how can I change jobs every year or every second year. They were the last 10 years, I had several jobs, and all of them, on 99%, had to do with creativity. And for them, it was horrible. You have two children. You have to take responsibility. You cannot switch from one job to the other. Yes, I can, because we live in the 21st century. You have a lot of possibilities. And I mean, now they see the results of my work. Now they see the results. I mean, my children, they are also very interested in history, in arts. My son plays 4 music instruments. My daughter loves painting. They play in my theater group. We travel a lot. And I know that I helped a lot of people with my creativity. When I started with writing my short stories, when I had my first literature performances, and I can remember once I read a story about my memories about Kazakhstan, and there was a woman in the audience, and she was crying whole time. While I was reading, she was crying all the time. And after, she came to me and said, what the words you read to us, you told us, it's what I feel my whole life, but I never found the words to express it. And I know that I help a lot of people to find the voice, to find the self-confidence. I mean, of course, there are also another topics. There may be not so heavy, and it's something very, very hard to work with this sadness and the losses, and such topics like deportation and death and abuse and women who were raped. It's very hard sometimes for me to deal with it. But these are topics I can speak about because I met a lot of people. I listened to them. A lot of people called me, told me their stories, and in the end, they told me, you're the first one who listened to me. My children never listen to me. My grandchildren never listen to me, but you listen to me. Now I can die because I told my story. And I think this is the reason why creativity worth expressing, because I'm sure that every person has something to tell the world. And so maybe this person is the one who can give another person more self-confidence, more hope, more light in the life. Yes, and I met a lot of people, creative people, very talented people. And when I ask them why you don't write, you can write very well. Why you don't try to write something, short story? Why you don't try to play theater? You are so blessed, acting. And you know what the most people say? Oh, it's very hard because there are a lot of concurrence, another people who doing the same thing. And I cannot invent nothing new. But you don't have to invent nothing new, because if we look at our history, creativity exists since the human exists.
Yeah.
Yes. So I always tell people, just do it. Find your voice, show your story. Maybe you can be the hope or the help for someone.
Well, thank you so much, Katharina. And to end this, can you share what is your Instagram? What is your website so people can find more about you?
Yes. My Instagram is marticat.de, and it's also the same the homepage.
Okay. Well, again, Katharina, thank you so much for being here on Creativity Worth Expressing. It was an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me.